Hello.
Hello. I
Oh.
waited like an extra second because the past couple of times I've been like entering mid-sentence,
Oh.
apparently. Yeah.
Um, I recently saw a TikTok of some girl talking about that some like Gen Z people were making fun of her for doing something called the millennial pause. Have you heard of that?
I've
So it's like
heard it.
apparently millennials, when they take a video, have like a pause period where they're waiting to see if it's working, and like Gen Z people don't do that.
Well, but Gen Z has their own weird thing because Gen Z is the still putting the camera down while they're talking.
Oh, yeah. Like they started too soon.
Yeah. No one has timed it right. Hello.
I'm just going to keep talking while people say that they're here. One more thing that just came to my mind is we had a conversation the other day about what generation we belong to.
Mm-hmm.
And then today I saw a TikTok once again of some, like, how do I want to categorize this woman? Mid-aged millennial who has like a teenager and a baby. And it said something like, when you have a Gen Z helper. And I just wanted to be like, I am my Gen Z helper. I'm Gen Z and I have two of my own. Like I am the Gen Z helper.
My heart babies.
Okay, that's all. Let's talk about children's books.
Yes. Reliving our childhoods back when we first became Gen Zers.
Yeah.
So today we're talking about Merlin Mission book 5 and 6 and The Brilliant Abyss by Helen Scales.
I don't have that one.
That's what my peace sign was representing.
Oh, okay. Like squids.
Sure. Danielle thinks these went so hard this month, and I have only seen one of her reviews on Goodreads for it, but her review knocked my socks off. I was
What
shook
is
by
your
it.
review? Okay, I'll have to go back and look.
Well, it was just the rating, but like it
Oh,
blew me away.
3 facts. Was it 5 stars?
Yeah.
Danielle do be loving to give Magic Treehouse 5 stars. I haven't given one 5 stars yet, so a 4-star Magic Treehouse for me is like really good.
I agree. That's how I feel. 4 stars,
Okay.
top tier Magic Treehouse for me.
Okay.
And I don't think I had any 4 stars this month.
I mean, there's only 2, so
Yeah, even the
okay.
nonfiction I didn't give 4 stars. So,
Okay.
do we want to start with Carnival at Candlelight?
Yes, let's.
That one.
Okay. 4 stars.
I gave it 3 stars.
I really liked this.
I could not get myself to care.
Really?
I think that was definitely, I was paying less good attention to that one. I was waiting for my cheesy bean burritos.
Fair. I'm gonna just go ahead and spoil that that's exactly how I felt about the other one. So interesting.
Fair.
Okay.
Lizzie is here.
Welcome. Can't wait to spoil all of these for you.
We're not there yet, Danielle. Hold on.
Yes.
I'm afraid I didn't read anything except like 25% of the nonfiction. So you read the best part of the nonfiction. Good.
I also feel like, right, like, it's 2 children's books in a nonfiction. They can't really be spoiled.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 stars. I can support
Danielle
that.
hurts so much.
Yeah, I can support that, to be honest.
I loved when they were doing things they shouldn't. It kept me on my toes.
Story of my
What is
life.
she
Like, that's
referring
all
to?
of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And Venice in general, much fun.
Okay.
Listen, typically a Magic Treehouse book, since they're all so similar, comes down to vibes, and so the setting matters a lot to me, and this setting I didn't care about. Especially, this is probably because I last year read a book that was set during like a carnival in Venice, and I hated that book, and so I think I have residual ick.
Like, you came in with bad vibes.
Yeah, exactly. They were like carnival, and they were all dressed up, and I was like, no.
Ick, right? Instant ick. Yeah. For me, a Magic Treehouse has to have like some stuff that I find funny.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be the lines that make me giggle a little bit. Otherwise, it's just kind of like blah. And so I do feel like there was stuff in this one that stood out to me. And that's why I said I do have quite a few notes, because that was obviously like I read a line and was like, that's noteworthy, even if
I
it's.
cannot wait to hear the things that made you giggle, because I don't remember giggling a single time during this one.
Okay.
But yes, Lizzie, I will intro this one for you. So this one, we're actually kind of at the start of a new like vibe. They get dreams. They get dreams, and it's of Teddy and Kathleen, who did appear again, and that they're in the magic tree house. And so they get up and they go to the magic tree house, and Teddy and Kathleen are like, you need to go somewhere and do something. And also, here's a little book of rhymes, 10 rhymes for your next 4 quests, just in case you get into trouble. And I will say that these books were like quite new, right around the time when I was reading Magic Treehouse. And so I very much remember the plot line of the little booklet of rhymes. That's like a dominant Magic Treehouse memory for me. So in this one, they go back to Venice during a carnival.
I'm just reading already her latest comment, lame.
This time they were genuinely stressed. And when the Titanic was sinking, they weren't genuinely stressed. The hurricane, they weren't stressed.
I feel like Jack is always stressed.
Always stressed. The book for the spells is so fun. It keeps me on my toes of what they'll actually use one for. Fair, but again, I like remember all those from growing up.
I have great concern, because at this point we've read 2. I have great concern for the pace at which they're using their rhymes.
They're going through them.
Yeah.
I will say. Also, I love that she picked a number that's not divisible by 4.
Yeah, that caused me stress and anxiety, because I was like, in some of them they're gonna have to use more. I was waiting for them to use like 5 in one. Yeah. Like in this one, spoiler, they only use 2. So I was like, okay, good job. That's like a good pace. You're saving some for later. The next one had me a little stressed. Slow down.
So true.
Slow down. Okay.
Okay, so Lizzie says, a book, wait, it's not a research book, but good news, there are research books again.
Yeah, there was. Yep, you're correct.
We get research. That's one of the like 2 notes I made about them was we're back to books.
Oh, I don't know anything like that.
Well, it just hurt me a lot when they got rid of the research books, because that's like my favorite part about it.
Okay. I mean, and so Jack notes, but
I have to wonder if Mary Pope wrote the Merlin missions without them and then got backlash, and they were like, you need to put them back.
Somebody was like, put it back. I guarantee somebody was like that. You need to give that back.
What is this about?
Oh, look, a dog.
You also remember the Book of Rhymes? Yes. I want to make Martina Book of Rhymes to keep. Yes, do it. Yes, books. Yes, books. Learning.
Okay. Wow, we're excited. Do you have any notes?
Let me check. I know that I wrote a note about books.
I have a note on page 2.
I said, glad to have books again. I like the idea of this series of 4 books. Meh. That's what I wrote for this.
Your whole what did you write this again?
3.
If that was all my notes on a Magic Treehouse, it'd be like 2 stars. Okay. On page 2. I need to I want to reference back to some of these, because sometimes my notes, it's like I need the reference of what was said. On page 2, I put Jack's glasses are confirmed back, because Jack jumped out of bed, put on his glasses, and threw on his clothes. So
yeah,
he does.
Well, they never left, though, is the problem. Because the problem in the last series of them was that he put his glasses down and then he magically did have them later.
Yeah. And then on page 7, because the rhymes, they do half English and then half the fucking, sorry for talking about children's books, half the seal language.
Yeah.
And I said, the language of the seal people? Is this a hint they may need to talk to seals?
And later they just didn't. They were just saying.
So that was my note there. And then on page 8, she mentioned family members, Aunt Gail and Uncle Michael. I thought that was noteworthy. We're expanding the family
Those
tree.
are new because up until now, I think we've gotten Uncle Josh and then maybe one other.
How do you remember this?
It stood out to me so much, but this time it didn't because
Gail and
I was
Michael.
listening. Lizzie remembers talking to seals.
Yeah, but that's from a old book. That's from like the first one.
Jack is so in love with her.
Do they talk to seals again? That was my conspiracy here. On page 13, I put I just DGAF about riddles anymore.
Fair.
21. I said that Jack was so embarrassed by his outfit until he realized everyone looked stupid, and I put stupid in quotation marks because I feel like since these were written, like stupid is like now known as like kids' first swear word. Like,
yeah.
Shouldn't say stupid. And so it stood out to me that that was in this book. And he like really thought he looked stupid until he realized everybody was wearing like costumes.
Also, I just don't get why this is the moment he decided he felt stupid when they've worn a bunch of random stuff before.
No kidding. But okay. And then page 33, I have to find what this is in context to. Oh, the guard. When he's telling them to get out of there. And because my note just says in quotation marks, what a grouchy guy, when the guard's telling him to leave. And he says, what a grouchy guy. That stood out to me. Okay. These are the things I find funny.
That's fair.
Then, oh, this I need the photo reference. I hope you guys are enjoying me taking Martine's job of having notes, but I'm not nearly as good. Okay. When they're escaping the like cell or whatever, the prison situation, I put they outrun the guard, but he's literally holding a gun.
To be
so
fair,
like he didn't want to catch them that bad.
Right. Like, to be fair, I feel like it would be extreme to shoot them.
Last Magic Treehouse book. Okay. And then on page 89, I just have in quotation marks, like a cat with the throwing up emoji. And that's the extent of my notes.
I do remember the cover of this book as well.
This?
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
Not
they do.
They do that.
They do. That's basically the whole plot. That's all I remember of what happened.
I'm glad I was like invested in this and you were like, cannot give a single care.
Didn't care. I listen. And yet,
well.
I honestly, you said like you would have given it a 2-star if you had the feelings that I have about it, but they brought the research books back and that was enough for me. And honestly, this also, the setup of this particular chunk of 4, I like so much that also helped raise it to a 3.
Conceptually,
yeah,
it was good.
Conceptually way higher.
Yeah.
The rest of it, meh, so it got a 3.
Fair.
That's my review.
Yep, that's also all I have on this one.
Okay, we want to talk about...
My notes were mostly just what a grouchy guy, and the guard could have shot the kid.
Just to make it even, I have 3 notes also for the Sandstorms book. But we'll get to those in a second.
Yeah.
So what did you rate it?
2 stars, and I feel like that was generous. This one was so blah to me. Not fun. Literally nothing interesting happened here.
I gave it 3.5 stars.
Dude, I'm waiting for Danielle to be like 5 stars. Fantastic. Loved it so much.
I would like to say in my defense that, can you show Lizzie the cover really quick?
They on camels.
Yes. I owned this book when I was little. And the nostalgia of the cover alone really boosted it for me.
I will say I continue to be impressed that these used copies I keep buying have like the stickers intact and like some kids didn't rip them out. I don't think I've gotten one that has had the stuff like taken out of the book.
Wow. This one was fun. I think 3 stars. I learned stuff, but Def skimmed.
Not much happened.
This brings me to my first note, Lizzie, which is Giza Strong.
I didn't even think. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. There should have been a group read.
Should have been.
We were far.
Lizzie says that she got the cover owning nostalgia from the Sea Serpent one.
Ooh.
So it is a thing. Magic Treehouse books are better if you did own a particular one when you were younger. It's confirmed. Great. We're all laughing because I'm hilarious. Giza.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I couldn't help myself. So in this one, where did they go again? Help.
I know that she wrote like a foreword that says, many years ago, I journeyed overland from Greece to Nepal. On my trip, I traveled from Damascus, Syria, to Baghdad, Iraq. They're in Baghdad.
How did you pronounce Damascus just now?
I'm not repeating it because I tried my best. What did I say? Damascus.
It sounded like you said Damascus.
That probably is what I said.
Okay. Yeah, they were in Baghdad. So true.
Tea.
So true. Okay, so they were in. Yes.
I think. Did she tell us which one each of us was going to be ours? Because I'm just like, I think that might be me.
I don't think she said yet.
She told us. Yeah, I don't think she did.
So they went to Baghdad and they met this dude, and he was basically like, "This is for Lizzie, by the way. Can you carry this thing for me and keep it safe?" So they did. And then it turns out that he was a really important person, the important person that they were looking for, in fact.
Of course.
That's what happened.
Helping them just so happened to be the person they were looking for. What a coincidence.
Exactly. Which has happened in a couple Magic Treehouse books thus far. I'm thinking of Marcus Aurelius in particular. Not decided as of yet. So the first thing they do is like they land in some palm trees. And I said,
it was a palm tree.
What?
I did think it was interesting that it was a palm tree.
Yeah. So I said, I was literally walking back to my dorm at this point, past a bunch of palm trees, and they were talking about how hot it was. And I was like, palm trees in hot weather, I relate.
Mm-hmm.
So I also think that elevated my experience a little because I was in the same type of vibe at the time that I was reading it. This is how Bailey finds out none of us gets to be.
This is how I find out that my team did so bad that I'm not welcome back.
Oh, God. Okay. You have notes.
A few. Not very many because I was bored out of my mind. On page 33, he said stupid again. He called the horse stupid. He says, give it back, stupid. And then Annie says, do you really think she's stupid? Stood out to me again. Then nothing was interesting until page 92, which is this many pages, most of the book. I said, pretty library.
Oh, I didn't get to see any of the pictures because I was listening to the audiobook.
Yeah.
It is a pretty library.
as I've said before, I am enjoying. There's more like 2-page spread pictures in these later books in the series than there was when we first started. So, enjoying that. On page 97, which I just think is when they happen to use a riddle again, a magic riddle. I said using 3 magics in this book. So they're really going through those. And then on page 105, which is basically the end, I said Jack telling Annie to be humble with the laughing face emoji, because Annie's talking about how they did all this and spread the wisdom to the world and how that's a big deal. And Jack just says, it says, be humble, Jack reminded her. And that stood out to me as well.
Okay.
And those are my notes.
My last note was magic carpet! Exclamation point.
I mean, it wasn't exciting to me. Honestly, when the magic carpet came, I was just kind of like, she just wanted something convenient for them to be able to get back.
I like the magic carpet. And it's interesting because there are multiple covers for each book, and the alternate cover for this one is them riding a magic carpet. And I was like, great, so you spoiled the ending completely in the cover.
True. Right, like this one's just like camels, which is the beginning.
Yeah. I thought it was a nice lesson to learn, though, when she was bragging and he told her to be humble. I mean, this set of Merlin missions, all of the Magic Treehouse books are big on that. But this set of Merlin missions, like, they keep reminding them of specific things, like be patient, be humble, all those things, very explicitly. So I did notice that, the be patient over and over again. And as an impatient person myself, I can tell you, I was like, no.
Yeah, no. No patience. Let's go.
But yeah, those are all of my thoughts on those 2 books. If anybody else has any other directly Magic Treehouse related thoughts, feel free to drop them. But other than that, we can move to our nonfiction.
Okay.
Let me scroll up.
I didn't take any
Daniel.
Yeah. Agree to disagree.
Yeah. What did you rate it?
Me?
Yeah.
I want to know what you rated it and what Danielle rated it first.
Well, I rated it 3.5 stars.
Okay. Danielle. Okay, I'll say what I rated it. I gave it 4.5. I had a good time.
Here's my thing. I was having the best time, like even 5-star vibes, until they stopped talking about the animals.
I will say the only part that like you're losing me was I did think that the very end when she starts talking about like what we can do to save the climate was a little bit too preachy in my opinion. Like she went hard for that. But yeah, I was having a good time.
Basically, around the time that they started talking about seamounts, that's when I zoned.
Oh. I also just want to say that I wasn't like the environment that I was listening to it in was very much, I just was like, first of all, I learned how to crochet this month. So I was just sitting like doing this. So like if I zoned a little bit, this was like the perfect thing for my activity.
I was eyeball reading it.
Yeah, which could be like, I can see how like parts that drag are going to drag more when you're doing that.
Danielle gave
it. The author read the audiobook and she had an accent. Not sure where she's from, but wherever she's from has an accent. And I kind of was like also vibing with that.
Gotcha. Danielle gave it 2 stars, but feels like it's more of a 1 star, which is insane to me.
Is it because you're scared of the ocean, or did you genuinely not find it interesting?
I had all 3, audio, ebook, and physical. I hated them all. I cared about nothing. It was so info dumpy. It's a nonfiction, Danielle. October's going to be bad for you.
Point. That's the funniest roast I've heard in so long. Because you said it so, like, my brain doesn't click how fast your brain just clicked, how fast you were like, October's gonna be bad for you. And it still took me a beat to be like, what's in October? And then I was like, oh no.
She agrees. October is going to be bad for her. Oh. Okay. Lizzie was kind of bored, but I think if I had to eyeball read and there were pictures, I would have liked it better. Okay, here's the thing about eyeball reading it. The only pictures that they had were at the very end. So, like, they had a couple of pictures. And I did pull a couple to show y'all. But other than that...
To look at pictures. Me saying I rated it high, and then I just said I didn't care enough to Google pictures.
It was also way harder for you to Google pictures because they said, like, really scientific names.
Yeah.
And you were listening. I could see it and
like Google. Ocean squid. And
yeah. I like the Titanic nonfiction. You all hated it. My taste is sinking. Okay, I can show you some pictures because the parts where they were talking about the different animals, I seriously loved so much. Danielle, this one should be happiness for you because of the era that you're in right now, and that's the picture of the vampire squid.
Ooh.
I can see why they've called it a vampire squid.
I don't remember how large anything is to be like, is that scary or is it cute and small?
Maybe both.
Okay, perfect.
This was a picture of like all...
Never mind. I was going to say something.
What were you going to say?
No, it's fine. I want to move on.
Okay. This is a picture of like all the jelly animals that they talked about.
Oh. Like, once again, I want them like to scale.
Yeah.
Like, how big is this?
Which the jelly animals were the ones that I usually like looked up one by one because they would describe them really weird and I'd be like, what is that even trying to say? So like this one that has like 1,000,000 arms. Like this one that looks like a cross, this one at the top that looks like a cross between like a weird flower and a rocket. I like that one. I just really like jelly animals. And the animal that I kept thinking over and over, what does that even look like? And yet didn't look it up. So was thrilled when there was a picture at the end, was the scaly foot snail.
I don't like that.
Yeah. I don't love it, but I was curious. It kind of looks like a shell ate a pine cone.
Yeah.
That's my
scary.
thought. I knew you'd like that one, Danielle.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look up seahorse wet. That seems like a trap.
Yeah.
Ew, hate them. I like jelly. They are aliens. The ocean is too much.
Different vibes here. Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a better picture of a scaly foot snail.
My thing is like conceptually.
Well, that's a gross picture
of the ocean because I'm not there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of these things. What are they going to do to me here in Iowa? Nothing.
No, that other picture that I found of a scaly foot snail is too gross. I refuse to show it.
Don't show it.
But I do find these fascinating.
I mean, but I feel like you're also saying that you didn't, like, she definitely started talking about like climate change and how like fishing for these animals is affecting the ecosystems and humans are killing the earth. Like you're saying, none of that interested you at all. Like she lost there a little bit.
There were moments of it that I found interesting, but for the most part, no, because I was just so invested in the animals that when she moved away from that, I was like, Especially because her trying to describe the animals was so fun because they're so weird looking that trying to put them into words just really had me. I don't know. Here's an animation of like a cartoon scalyfoot snail, which you might like better.
Yeah, I do like that better. It reminds me of Marcel the Shell.
Fair. So there you go. Those were my pictures. This is not accurate.
My understanding is we were talking about the deep sea.
Yes.
Not the beach. Nor, I don't know how many miles you are from the beach, but I don't think that it can jump that far.
It cannot. Fun story. So one time I was quite young, maybe 6 or 7, and I was
Me
at the
too.
beach with my family and some friends, and we were playing football for some reason. This was not my family's idea. This was the other family's idea, but we went along with it.
I won't get the
And
wrong perception of your family.
exactly. And there was like a jellyfish that had washed up on the like beach, and I was really scared of it because I didn't want to get stung, and I had what some might call an overactive imagination.
Yes.
Still do. So I was running away from it at one point, and I started hearing a flopping sound.
And you thought it was chasing you.
I thought it was chasing me, but my jean shorts were just wet. And that's one of my favorite stories. I think it's so silly.
That's funny. Because like, what was your family telling you? I can just picture Michaela like eye rolling at you.
They didn't know what happened. I had to tell them the story like later in my life. Because I didn't say anything to anyone else. I just like ran a little, and it was normal to run because we were playing football. So I just ran, and I finally looked back and I realized, like, I finally put it together, and I was like, "There's no way I'm ever telling anyone that," because it was so embarrassing.
And here we are.
And here we are. The internet knows now. The gasp I gasped when you said flopping sounds.
Yeah, that was a good story. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I find these creatures so interesting, and just when she was talking about how deep the ocean is,
yeah,
I was like, oh man.
Yeah. I can't conceptualize it. I really can't.
I can't.
It's scary.
And that's what makes it like interesting to me, is that I'm like, that's so big that I can't even fathom what it looks like.
She said something at one point though that it's like the last like unexplored thing to discover, and my mind instantly went to like actually like going into like the earth further.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean? Like my mind instantly was like, well, they're probably gonna eventually do that too. Do you get what I'm saying?
No.
I don't know science words to say what I'm trying to say. Like to go to the Earth's core, like in dirt deeper, can also
like,
still.
Right. So there are extremophiles, which are beings that live at like extreme temperatures. We already have that by the geothermal vents, right? And so you're saying like you think they're going to go all the way through.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I will say reading this right after Our Wives Under the Sea was something. I do think it's so important to take care of our oceans, and I appreciate it for existing. I just can't think about it ever.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Danielle just being honest with me that she has no clue what I'm talking about. Thank you. Yeah. what was I just gonna say? Oh, they did mention the Titanic in this.
You did. And I was thinking about it.
I didn't know that it was so close to being like disintegrated.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it a lot as they were talking about submarines in general,
Discovering stuff down there, yeah.
especially when she was talking about how it's so dangerous to go down there. That's why they don't send humans in the sea.
He said something about like people haven't been able to pay their way into space, but the wealthy have like paid their way to submarines, and I was like, oh.
I was like, and it's ended poorly for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was also interesting. I don't know, as a scientist myself, it was interesting for her to talk about the specific scientific community around the deep sea and how like small it is, and about like their issues.
I might be pulling this number out of nowhere, but didn't she say there's only like 500 people who are like actively researching this?
I think it was a couple thousand.
Okay. Thank you.
But it was still small because for us, if we think of like pulling a couple thousand people out, that seems like such a big number. But when you think about the entire world, it's really not. It's tiny. Yeah. R.I.P. So yeah, that was interesting to me, especially when she was talking about like funding and the way that different people have had to prioritize their research about the deep sea because like there's too much, we can't do it all, and there's not enough people doing it, so like they really can't do it all, and all of that. I found that interesting too because I was like,
Well, and just like every time that they are like discovering a new ecosystem or whatever, how many new things are being discovered. Like the concept of even like there is so much discovered.
I also really loved hearing about some of the experiments they've done because like when I think of people studying the deep sea, I don't for some reason think of them doing experiments. So like when they had the one where they put like where they like alligator carcasses and they like put them down there to see like how they were covered or something. I was like, oh my gosh.
At one point there was like logs dropped into something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the fact that they've discovered whole new species by like looking around and being like, what's that growing on a whale skeleton?
Right.
Like we'd learned about extremophiles in like science class in public school growing up, but we didn't learn about things like the bone-eating organisms that they had in this. Like there were so many things that survive in such weird ways that I was like, wow, I can't believe that's a thing in the world.
My brain is firstly, the first thing that came to my mind is, oh my gosh, Martine remembers big words. And I also think I was listening to that part in Joanne Fabrics when they were doing the experiments because it's sparking memories. My mind just exploded. I'm sorry.
Just like that submarine.
I just became mush.
You're not making me like the ocean more. Still scary. We know nothing. That's so true. We know nothing. But if you think about it, we don't really know anything about anything. So the ocean is no different. I like big words.
That's what that whole monologue you just have. You lost me when you repeated the word. It was like extremophiles or something. And I was like,
extremophiles, yeah.
This is too deep for me. Pun intended.
Well, did you at least appreciate my fathom joke earlier?
No, I had that one over my head.
Because of fathom, I looked at your face. I looked at your face after I made that joke, and it hadn't changed at all. And so I Googled, I was like, am I crazy? So I Googled, what is a fathom? And it's a unit of length equal to 6 feet used in reference to the depth of water.
Why would I know that?
The Mysterious Fathoms Below. Wait, you don't watch Disney movies. Never mind. Isn't that a song from The Little Mermaid?
I've never seen The Little Mermaid.
I know, that's why I said Mysterious Fathoms.
Look, everybody else appreciated it. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm going to send you this song.
Okay.
A Target ad just started playing. Please hold. Dropping it in general chat where it belongs.
Watch it show up. Is it on Spotify? Watch it show up in the group playlist tomorrow.
Oh, I sent the...
Because we all listened to it today.
Fathoms Below.
It's going to be like, who listens to this? Everybody.
It is the first song because they sing it on the ship. Because it's a song about the ocean and how deep it is. But yeah, thank you for appreciating my Fathoms joke. It is hilarious.
I'm sorry.
Gravity technically is the theory, could be fake. Yeah, science can't prove anything. That's literally...
Don't stress me out like this tonight. I don't want to have an explanation
that suggests something. You can disprove things in science, but you cannot prove them.
What was that one TV show where they were trying to like prove or disprove things? It was like two.
Mythbusters?
Yeah. Isn't that the whole concept of that show?
Well, technically, they were disproving everything. They were busting myths.
Okay. I didn't watch
it.
I feel like we watched it in science class or something.
We didn't watch I love that show so much. Heck yeah.
I believe that. I believe that.
I'm thinking right now of the episode where they myth busted Fruit Ninja. So they literally just threw fruit at each other.
Did they like have it? Did they just do
they
that?
had swords and stuff. But what I think, the Mythbusters episode that I think of on the daily, like I swear to you, I think about this every day, is the one where...
I'm anticipating what you're going to say.
The one where they tested to see which stall in a public bathroom gets used the least. So which one would be the cleanest.
Can I just say what I think?
Yes, please do.
Because you know the answer. I always think, and so I always use this one, that it's the first one right when you turn the corner.
It is.
I'm right. Because I always do that, because I feel like most people go in and want to like choose. Like it's weird to like just take that one.
Yeah. You take that one.
Look, okay, thank you.
I wish they would have tried to do lizard people. Myth bust lizard people, you mean?
What are you talking about? What is happening? When Ruby mentioned public bathrooms the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, that is literally trauma. I hate public bathrooms so much.
Same. And that's why I think of it on the daily, because every time I go into a public restroom, I'm like, okay, first
one, unless there's blood on the rim or something.
Mythbusters, lizard people.
What are you talking about? What is happening?
So in conclusion, I liked reading about the animals, but I'd never want to meet them face to face.
Yeah.
But I do think they're interesting because, I mean, we learn from very young ages about different animals. You know, we teach toddlers moo, quack, quack, all of that stuff.
Oh my gosh, you know Maple's favorite words. Weird.
Yeah, crazy. And we never learn about animals like these. And so I think they're interesting because I think it's awesome to be an adult and learn about something that exists in the world that you live in that you had no idea existed before. Yes, Bailey.
Is it because these ones don't make noise, or do they make noise? That's a new question I have.
Well, they did spend a lot of time talking...
They don't make noise?
They did spend a lot of time talking about whales, which is a section of the book that I really, really loved because I've been really into whales recently.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
It was like a couple months ago.
Oh no.
I read a middle grade book called Song for a Whale, and I learned some things about whales that I never knew in that book. And so I haven't like hyper fixated on them, but I have found them interesting since then. And so even the other day, this was like one of the only times currently I'm not supposed to be checking out any new library books unless it's from a series that I'm in the middle of. And the other day, like a couple weeks ago, I did break that rule because I saw a new whale book. Because Whale Fall by Daniel Krauss came out.
Okay, I'm happy for you. Also, I just want to Danielle saying that Martine is in their whale era. I just want to say that sometimes we don't all make things our entire personality.
Fair. Teach Mabel to say extremophiles. Yes, this is. I have just now realized that the only. Oh no. Maybe I am in my whale era because I realized that the only 2 times I've broken this library rule were from that book and pod because I'm going to hold on it today.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Have you ever watched Blackfish? No. I have not. I'm not sure I'm that into my whale era.
Okay.
I like them as like secondary things in books right now. Anyway, so the reason that I brought up whales was because you were talking about do we not sing about them because they don't make sounds. But yes. I've learned about whale songs a lot in that middle grade book because that was like the whole point was that it's kind of about this whale who sings at a frequency that the other whales can't hear, and so it's alone. And it's based on a real whale. Okay. And anyways, so then I looked up like whale songs because they were describing the whale songs, and I was like, what do you mean it sounds like that? Because we have like our stereotypic thought of what a whale song sounds like, aka Dory from Finding Nemo. Exactly. So like I said, and but that's not how all whale songs sound. And in fact, let's see if I can. What was one that had a weird sperm whale song?
Your Google search history. Can you imagine handing your phone to somebody and letting them Google something, and the first thing that comes up that you searched is sperm whale song?
This is why I always keep my browser on private mode. Okay, stop talking. I want to listen to the whale. Did you hear that?
It was like kind of like a clicking sound.
Yeah.
It sounds like a creaky door.
Yeah.
Like a hinge. That's what they sound like?
That's what a sperm whale sounds like, yeah.
Take it back.
I can't. I'm literally crying.
Danielle agrees with me. That was weird. It was weird.
I just find it so interesting. Make them change it. They can't help it.
To oil that hinge. Okay.
Don't spill oil on whales. I'm unwell. Okay. So yeah. That's why I found them interesting, because that's not what I thought they sounded like.
No, I would agree.
But they do. So I did, again, back when I was feeling like this book would maybe get 5 stars for me, they were talking about whales, and then it eventually stopped talking about whales.
Climate change?
Whales? Yes. We're dying. We're crying. They sound like one of the clickers in The Last of Us. I haven't seen that, but I'll take your word for it. Huh?
I said me either, but that sounds scary.
Yeah. So I loved the beginning of the book. But, oh, also this took me forever to read. I don't know why. Let me pull up my read time for it.
I just saw. Of course, this is the one that's missing. That one of our next ones says with temporary tattoos, and guess what's missing? The temporary tattoos.
I do have to say, no, I'll save my story about that one for the live show about it.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. It took me over 4 hours to read this book.
Oh, I listened to the audiobook on 1.25 times speed, so it definitely took me longer than that.
Yeah, but it was less than 300 pages, and eyeball reading it.
I actually had to look up how many pages it was today to submit my pages based on percentage for the Heartstopper readathon. So it's coming to mind that it's like 288 pages.
It is 288 pages. So it's counting as one of my short books for the month, which is upsetting because it took me longer to read than it took me to read Radio Silence, which is almost 500 pages.
That's tea. That's the drama.
Yeah, because Radio Silence took me 2 hours and 47 minutes.
That's so fast. What are you okay?
That book flies. Are you kidding? I panic read that book.
Alice Oseman has a very quick writing style.
It took me no. Get out. It took you over 4 weeks. October is gonna suck. I'm DNFing it since I didn't finish in time.
I gave it 4.5 stars.
I really, really, really enjoyed the beginning. Okay. And I was very sad by the end. So like I honestly for at least a week of reading this, even though it was going slow, I thought it would be a 5-star for me. I was devastated when I started disliking it. So
I'm sorry.
But yeah, Danielle taking over 4 weeks to read it, reading 31 nonfiction in October.
I will say I feel like the nonfiction she's going for isn't this kind of nonfiction.
Yeah. This one was quite academic, but I had a good time. So, and this would be a great moment to tell you our next nonfiction book, but we don't know it yet. So
I was just kind of looking at like what these are about to be like, ooh, what could we try to find a nonfiction about? Me, standing out to me is the word blizzard. But
what stood out to me is that in one of the next few months, we have another Magic Treehouse book about the deep sea. So
when? Oh, when?
Let me pull up the reading order.
When are we done? I was wondering, like, I feel like we're getting close to the end.
March 2024.
Yeah, so we're like
right there.
7 months.
It's one of our October books, Dark Day in the Deep Sea.
Okay.
So Danielle, buckle up.
After these, I only own 2 more. So I only have the September and October books, and I need to purchase more. Ooh.
Book club books don't count.
But I bet that we can make the thing before 2000 work. I'll try my best.
We'll see.
I'm going to keep them for the kids.
Yes, please do. Whenever you mentioned unhauling them, I was like, don't do it.
Like I have said, though, when I was looking to like purchase them, I could not find somebody selling a full set. And so my mind instantly goes to like, I'm going to have a full set and it will be like I could sell it for so much, but not as much as I paid for it.
Yeah. You also can't get nearly as much money as the priceless joy of growing up with an entire Magic Treehouse book collection.
Okay, but revert back to me last month saying I don't like them that much.
Yeah, but I mean your kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what are our next 4 books, Bailey?
Yes, they are Night of the New Magicians, Blizzard of the Blue Moon. This one's fun because it actually is like sparkly.
You're thumping these books down.
Red Dawn. Monday with a Mad Genius. That's what we're coming back for next month.
So join us in September for those 4. It's Merlin Missions 7 through 10.
The thing is, you keep saying that, but on the books it says 35 through 38, so it hurts my brain.
Yeah, that's because when she first started writing the Merlin Missions...
Trust me, I know, because when I had to find the ones that there's duplicate numbers of, impossible.
Yeah. Yep, and this is why you don't create a series that becomes another series that you've written for decades.
Yep.
Lesson learned, Mary Pope.
Yeah.
She remembers the bike one. We love you too, but we're not going to stay live all night.
No.
So
every time that Danielle comes in the Reading Sprints chat and is like, Reading Sprints anyone? I just want to respond and be like, no. When I'm unavailable, but I know it's mean, and I don't know if she would know that I'm not trying to be mean. I just think I'm funny.
Well, then include the little heart after no, like Ruby did when Danielle asked us all to read Twilight.
Yeah, no.
No, heart. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. We're going to end this now. So, peace out.